Boops are eternal. Chapter 11. Sleep is for the contemplative. You never asked for this. Well, actually, you kinda did, because only Twilight would knock on your door with a perfect shave and a haircut, but... You hate her so much, yet you also called for her. What is this life? That was a question better left for people smarter than you. You took the moment to wrangle yourself away from your therapy princess, who'd about half encircled you by now, and shambled towards the door. A hard shamble, though, since you felt like the living embodiment of lead. That run really took it out of you. Or was it the rude and slightly ungodly awakening? That too. You weren't about to just let that go into annoying territory, so you just promptly opened the door only to have a hoof complete the rest on your belly. OCD, am I right? Dear God, you're tired again. Oh, it's even worse. Oh, and Books looks like she's gonna stab you just enough to get a point across.
Anon? What happened?
Oh, right. You guys did some sort of storm out of the dining hall, and then disappear. And hell, she probably saw Celestia looking like she did at the end at some point. I plead the fifth. Your subsequent attempts to close the door were unceremoniously stopped by some purple-colored OP. Oh, there goes that plan.
Nuh-uh, not this time. You're gonna tell me exactly what happened back there, and
You duck down and shove one of your sleeves into her mouth, before pointing awkwardly towards the other princess in the room, the comatose one. Twilight still looks about ready to assault you for some reason or another, but she subdued it. For now. She uses her advantageous position on you to sling a hoof around your neck before clawing you out of the room. And with yet another liberal use of OP, she makes one of those weird-sounding bubbles around you. At least she doesn't look ready to murder-ish? You have no escape plans right now, and your mind isn't even trying to create more. It wasn't the moon or the sun, it was always the OP that would kill you. God damn it, Anon, you should have seen this coming. They can't send you to the void or living fusion without this power.
Anon, seriously, I'd like to know what happened. I've had several guards have a fit over seeing you two run around causing chaos, and I'd like to know what happened.
That sounded distinctly non-murderous, but still a bit pissy. Definitely having a fit about the chaos, most of all. The best answer you could give, however, was a tired yawn.
The shut-in wouldn't even tell me what happened, probably. He's even worse than
Suddenly you're being ambushed by two ponies, other than the one standing over you. They seem to give Books a slight heart attack as well.
Sheesh, he looks beat. Are you sure that you wouldn't prefer to knock him out and get the gal over here to tell Luna to collect instead?
That's bold of you to assume that I'd get away with that. Even if Twilight is involved, Luna has a distinct need to dreamwalk policy during the day, and I don't blame her. Not including messing around with her own guard. Those voices, spicy and nighty. Oh, they didn't abandon you. Oh, no need to freak out. You would have actually cheered to lighten the mood if it wasn't for your mind nodding off there for a moment, and again.
Sheesh, what'd you do to him? I thought he got good rest last night, at least from what I saw.
There was a silence in the room for a moment, and something tension-y probably happens, but your eyelids were leadening further. Night, you're awake during the day. Don't fool yourself. Everybody knows that you used him as a—
Finish that sentence, and I'm getting you gelded.
Spicy lets out a weird breath of air before snorting and probably hitting her side. Night, in turn, seemingly flips him over, roughly but the sound of it, before walking back over towards you. Horrible people being horrible. That's your favorite. Don't fall asleep on. It's like TV at 3 a.m. Wait, no, wait, bad comparison. Darknesseth, musteth, consumeth, ureth, souleth, noweth.
You saw nothing. Dear sister, we saw everything. It is a wonderful idea that you allowed yourself to have such creative dreams, even during a simple nap. Pray tell, how do you vividly understand how his hands would feel against your coat? Out! Leave! Now! Or perhaps it is just your imagination, basing itself on a single brush-up.
Even though the various objects thrown at her would cause no damage, Luna still used the moment to retreat, giggling as she went. That was much too easy, and much too fun. Something great was happening. Two great things, actually. Another door had opened, and another open dream awaited her.
Wait, 'tis Anonymous's.
Perhaps his would be similar, and perhaps she could fix the memory issue he seemed to have. She mostly hoped for the first one, though. Sentiments kept in even the most stubborn of creatures, after all.
Knight, we have a problem here.
Night Vision simply shook her head and continued on, ignoring Gold's attempt to distract her again. Yeah, she probably should have gone for a split the labor kind of deal instead of the short stick, but she wanted to see his failed attempts at hauling Anonymous to bed. Sadly, she only discovered two things. Humans are heavy, and Gold laughs like a sick Pegasus.
I'm not messing you with this time, seriously, stop a moment.
Even if he sounded a bit more sincere, it didn't really matter. His track record had enough of an ass-to-not ratio to encourage her to continue her ignorance.
You didn't fool me last time, and you're not gonna fool me this time again, dickhead.
No, seriously! Gold's was never stern. Hitting the brakes did seem like the best course of action at the moment. Her gaze flickered over to his, only to trail back to the bed itself. Yeah, that was a problem. Luna was still there. She would forever deny the fact that her breathing went a bit funny, or that Anonymous slipped her off her back and let out a loud grunt of pain. She could make up for that later, even if it never happened at all, ever, in any universe, at all. Well, this was not what Luna expected. Instead of his usual dreams, like an unusual cluster of thoughts or, well, some exaggerated experience from his day, this one seemed much more like a memory. This was especially bizarre. Anonymous was certainly a frequent dreamer, and more than once her magic had called her to dispel a nightmare, or three, yet she had never seen him dream of a memory. He always seemed to be the type to live in the present in any of his dreams. It was always a manifestation of Ponyville, his house, or some other location close to him. In fact, she had never seen a dream that pulled from an event that occurred more than a few weeks before. The feeling itself wasn't the most bizarre thing about the dream, however. You're doing well, Anon. Just remember, eyes forward and hands steady. Old Buck may be, well, old, but he's certainly not a slow one. He'll just let you slip onto the ground more than once if you aren't confident. Many times before, she had seen his confusion when it came to ponies, but in this situation, she had to ask herself if it was intentional ignorance. After all, not many ponies could say that they watched an alien riding on the back of what one could consider their oldest evolutionary relatives. Whoa! Lean to the left, Anon. Keep your balance. It was certainly an odd sight. Anonymous seemed much younger, if she could guess, and there was an adult with him as well. Even if he had spoken the bizarreness of his greenish tone before, that didn't quite speak volumes when the adult was a dull shade of red. I can't, he's all jumpy! Give him a slap then, he's used to it. What? No, I can't do that! Do it, Anon. You'll never live a good life if you walk on eggshells all the time, come on! A noise of indignance came from Anonymous before he struck the stallion beneath him. In turn, he got a large snort before the beast slowed down to a reasonable canter. How the heck did that work? Magic, Anon. Magic! No, seriously, how did that work? It's called living a little. You'll get a handle of it one day, bud. Luna found herself in what best could be described as a trance as she watched Anonymous now going in circles in a small field. Before long, his uncertainty had started to melt away and he now held a massive grin on his face. The day had continued on as usual, but somehow the sun seemed to shine brighter as the time passed on, and the sky was cleared perfectly. Everything felt as if it was shaped down to the last detail to be ideal for him. Yet still, this was recollection, no matter how surreal it felt. I'm doing it! Yeah, you're doing it. But, you know what? How about you kick up the tempo? Remember, Anon, anything to get the blood pumping, to get your life moving.
Try and stop me!
Both parties broke into a fit of laughter before Anonymous urged the stallion to move faster, and somehow he continued to balance onto the creature as he rode free.
Gold, I swear to Luna, if you stop again...
I can't help it. We don't exactly have much of a margin for error here. Yeah, just slow down, Knight. He's doing all he can. Night Vision didn't much appreciate being ganged up on.
What I'm saying is, if you slow down like that again, I'm gonna drop him...
What? Oh, for bucks. Anonymous let out a groan of pain as he went headfirst into the marble floors of the hallway. And, oddly enough, he continued to slide away from here to another meter. Or so.
Oh, crap.
Luna felt her heart stop as she watched the stallion beneath Anonymous stumble suddenly, sending the smaller human tumbling towards the mud beneath them. Even if it was a dream, she couldn't help but move into action. Acting quickly, Luna leapt from her hiding spot in an attempt to catch him. Her aim wasn't as on point as she hoped, and she quickly found herself tumbling along with him not too soon afterwards. Yet, she managed to encircle him, and to protect him. Even if she couldn't really feel the ground herself, the resistance and sentiments from Anonymous were enough to experience the situation herself. It was rough, wet, and quite terrifying in its own way. No pony would walk away from it without a few injuries, and perhaps even a serious one. And, for the memory, she still held on to her charge as well as she could as they came to a stop. She would not allow an inch of soil to touch him. To have a happiness such as that end so abruptly, and with injury. It was just one memory, but it felt impactful, as if somehow it was a core to his soul and, to some extent, his identity. Luna was certainly embarrassed to admit that in most circumstances, unlike her sister, she had a few issues understanding the flow of time. It was a rather common event to have her exploits and some ponies' nightmares to be interrupted by an alarm, and for her to remain in court a few hours too many, much to the chagrin of the guards, regardless of whether or not they let her know that her shift is over, and occasionally for her to raise or lower the moon a few hours off schedule. But anyway, in this case, she was content with it. At some point, Anonymous's presence had seemed to enlarge as the memory had faded, moving back to the realm of a normal dream. Though, she couldn't really exactly place the time when he had buried this into his head and into her chest, nor when he had circled his arms around her withers and refused to let go. She hardly cared, though. His emotions had traveled through various different phases, consistently returning to confusion. Most interestingly of all, perhaps, was anger, frustration, and resistance. Even more so when he held her tighter during it. She had taken the time to test a few spells regarding memory retention, happy enough to find that the dream only diverges into memory disposal when she enters, and continues when she applies any common memory spell. She still had some work to do, but she could at least be happy with that for now. While he wouldn't really remember the earlier events of his memories, at least he would have access to the emotional aftermath in the dream. Though, oddly enough, when she considers the possibility of him remembering their closeness, it was better not to dwell on such thoughts. He needed some pony to be here, and she would be that pony. She drew closer again, and he held tighter.
So, care to explain why your brilliant plan involved dragging Anonymous off to the princess's room, even if you're just dumping her off here?
Judging by how Gold froze up when she mentioned it, she was probably supposed to leave Anonymous behind, and of course, it was implied by passive psychic powers instead of direct instructions, even if he was the one who said, "Carry him along." She sighed.
But, Bucket, he's a cuddler. I'll confirm that much. Just dump him in there with Luna and let them sort it out. Think they got drunk or something, or at least just Anonymous. Let him think breakfast was a fever dream. He's gonna have a headache anyways.
Yet again, she got the "why is a guard morally dubious" look from both Gold and Twilight. She simply returned the favor with a rude gesture from her wings.
Get over here, dickhead. I can't prop him up there myself.
It was Gold's turn to sigh as he moved over to help her, propping up the human onto the edge of Luna's bed. That didn't prevent another horrible idea coming into her mind, though.
Hey, you guys tucked in Luna, right?
Don't even think about it.
You don't owe me, Miss Princess of Friendship and Rainbows, and...
She let out a few fake gags before starting her work onto the covers, slowly inching them down to the human's overclothed form. Nah, she wouldn't go that far. Yet. Unsurprisingly, Princess Twilight let out a few indignant noises of self-righteousness and princessiness as she worked, but she was happy enough to see Gold remove his day guard, stick up the ass, and move over to help her. He earned 1 day of dickheadlessness at least, and his growing smirk.
Hey, Knight? What, Gold?
Revenge.
Wait, what?
In what felt like less than a second, she was scooped up in a golden aura of magic and wedged in between the sheets and Anonymous. Operation complete! Go, go, go! Go, go! And just like that, they were gone, leaving her alone in this room under the covers with both Anonymous and Luna. Now she couldn't move, too. No, actually, seriously, Anonymous had just thrown his arms around her and hugged her like his life depended on it.
Luna, damn it. Why does he have to be such a good bed?
The situation only seemed to worsen as she was slowly sandwiched in between Luna and Anonymous, at the former slowly wiggling her way around him, slinging her hooves over him. Now, after years of training to work in the shadows and the ability to slip out of any bad situation, everything had gone wrong in less than a minute. Gold was gonna feel the pure, filtered power of revenge soon. The kind where she brings a camera and makes it news all around Canterlot.
Why is this bed so comfortable? No, actually, better question. Why in Tartarus are they getting so close so quickly?
Somehow, she felt like the universe was taunting her.